All right, let's continue this more. I want to continue looking at Barcelona and their situation. But before we do that, Jules, we're contractually obligated. Jules, tell me, who scored the opening goal for Real Madrid?
Kareem the Dream! Get in!
There you go. That's done. That's done. We got that out of the way.
What?
All right. Alex, Jules made the point earlier, comparing where these teams are compared to where they met last year when Barcelona trounced them 4-0. Obviously, it's a different situation. That was the game that Modric played as center forward, theoretic center forward, whatever he's doing. In terms of tactically how the pieces actually fit together, I don't understand why they are so predictable. I know people can pick on the defenders and it's easy to play if the defenders are good, but I'm not feeling these wingers. I don't get that. It's not just, for me, it's not so much a problem that they play via the wingers all the time. It's just that I'm not sure these wingers are quite that good to justify that. And B, they do the same thing over and over again. They're predictable wingers. They don't vary it. They don't do the cutback waiting for the runner from midfield, for example.
I got the feeling yesterday that Lewandowski was isolated and a little bit frustrated at times, actually, with Dembele and Rafinha either side of him. I thought Rafinha was quiet. Dembele has always been a kind of a moments player, an inconsistent player, can do brilliant things or can get things really wrong. And I just thought, I don't know, I just didn't think he was, I just thought he was really disappointing. And like I say, Lewandowski was up there on his own. I feel like to really get the best out of him, he needs players closer to him. And you mentioned Ansu Fati, who came on and was brilliant for the Barca goal. Maybe he's a player who's going to associate a bit more with Lewandowski than someone like Dembele, for example. It was a bit kind of predictable. It was a bit slow. It felt like Barca had lots of the ball but didn't do very much with it. And like I say, Madrid were just willing to sit back and wait for their chance.
He always brings it back to Madrid, doesn't he?
No, but he's right.
But explain Ansu Fati to me. Explain.
There's a fitness issue, Gab. It can't be anything else. He
has some medical condition.
He can't play more than 20-25 minutes maybe right now for a game in a game with that kind of intensity. Otherwise,
right, I'm going to put this out there, right? If you are a doctor of any kind, please reach out to me on social media and tell me what this condition is called, the one which stops you from playing more than 20.
Maybe they're cautious because of all the injury record that he's had in the last 2 years. I don't know.
What is he to build up his muscle mass? What does he have to do?
I don't know, but maybe our training is not very good either. I don't know, but there must be a reason why.
Well, let's ask Alex since he's there. Alex, when you ask them that, what do they say?
There must be something there because Xavi isn't picking him and Luis Enrique isn't picking him for Spain either. So
when you ask these people the question,
I would
right?
Trust their
when you go, Xavi, ¿por qué? Ese es bueno, el otro es malo. When you explain it to him or say it in Catalan, however you say that.
I mean, I
what
don't
does he say?
Have that kind of access to Xavi.
No, not you, but these people give press conferences. There must be people asking, why does the most technically gifted non-Polish player on this Barcelona team, why is he still on the bench when he's been back in training for months and months?
You're right. He's been back in training for a long time, but I think he still doesn't have the sharpness that you need.
Again, you're telling me what you think, and I appreciate that. But why is it? Is Xavi? Nobody in the entire Spanish media has thought to ask Xavi or Luis Enrique this question.
I haven't heard an answer, but
I mean, Luis Enrique was asked and said directly, he's not at his level. He's not at the level that he needs to be at.
At the physical level or at the performance level?
No, performance level.
All right, but then from the man who picks Eric Garcia,
you bring him on wide, to play wide in a game like this. Maybe Xavi's mindset is to have two pure wingers to play wide. So Dembele, Rafinha, whoever you want as a winger, and Fati doesn't really fit that profile because he's not a typical winger like Dembele or Rafinha, right?
He's better than them.
I know, but then we go back to...
At least you have more variety.
But we go back to the style of play and the tactics from Xavi, who... Basically, Xavi as a player has two huge influences, right? The first one is the Dutch influence with when Van Gaal was the manager there, right? With two proper winger. And the other one is Pep, right? Right now, I'm flabbergasted to see that he kind of prefer the very Dutch approach of like, let's play with two wingers. Everything literally goes through them. Everything. To the point that you hardly use your fullbacks. instead of trying to just build up a bit more your play.
It is weird. You're right. You're 100% right, Jules. This is the value add, Jules, you bring because you've got this historical perspective.
It's just I don't get it.
This is a throwback to another era of playing.
Yeah.
What's more, what I think makes it worse with these wingers is they do the same thing. They don't, there's different ways. We saw a little bit when we praised Dembele in the Champions League. When the ball's out to Rafinha's side, he comes into the box and he kind of, acts as like a second striker. Okay, that's one variant. But when he's not doing that, they don't look for cutbacks for runners from midfield. They have Kessie, who's really good at actually that, making those runs into the box and finishing. Okay, you don't want him to do it? Gavi, I'm sure, can do it. Pedri, we've seen him do it. But it just doesn't happen. And there's also no variance, and I think one of you guys touched on this before, I think when we were off air. With Lewandowski, I get it. He's phenomenal. How about once in a while, you have him hold the ball up and you ask him to play back to goal a little bit.
I know.
Right? And I'm sure it's not like Lewandowski doesn't do it because he can't do it, doesn't want to do it. He's not asked to do it.
I know. Before Alex answers, for me, the best Barca we've seen this season is that first half in Munich against Bayern. And this is a half where they didn't play as much on wingers, when Pedri was so good. Remember, Alex, that game where they could easily have been 3-0 up at halftime? Because finally, centrally, because I think Bayern maybe were waiting for them wide, centrally, that's when they combine well. So they can even do it. But it seems like the instructions from Xavi is like, give the ball to Rafinha and Dembele, and then they're going to do something. Like we mentioned for the Inter Milan game, the first leg at the San Siro, where they had like 1,000 crosses for no end product.
Yeah, no, Alex, well, what's your take on this? Is he getting any stick on this?
I think not playing Gavi was a weird one, and that's a decision that's been picked up on here. I understand the desire to bring in Frenkie de Jong. Maybe he's a player who can carry the ball forward, but I think in a game like this, you want Gavi. You want Gavi for the kind of the competitive edge that he brings, the way that he's got snapping into tackles, and I felt like Gavi's energy, I thought was really, really lacking.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.